Okay, I've got 4 o'clock. Looks like we're doing pretty good on attendance. I appreciate you guys being here. You've got in front of you the minutes from our last meeting. Is this correct? March 24, 2025?
Yes.
Okay, if you've had a chance to review them, we need a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
A motion we approve.
Okay, I've got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion concerning the minutes? Anybody have any concerns? If not, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed to approval, say nay. Okay, minutes are approved. We're going to receive an update on the from Parks and Recreation.
What is it doing? I'm not sure what's happening here. There we go. All right. So we have some of our most recent events that we've done. And Corbett Challenge was in April. It was very well attended, one of our bigger years. And then we had our summer and spring adult sports. We're pretty much concluded on most of those. We're doing our summer camp currently. This is our last week of our recreation camp. And then we have one more week of gymnastics camp that we're doing next week. We also did a National Trails Day. That was the first weekend of June. We did a guided hike. You see that in that corner there. And then the Running of the Blueberries, which is our fundraiser for the dog park. After expenses and everything, we made about a little over $13,000 to put back into the fund again. So, all in all, very good things. Our first week of summer camp, we did our Touch a Truck event with the police and fire trucks came out, Public Works, things like that, and then they also did a fun little activity. The kids made a poster for the police to tell them how grateful they were. So that was all good and fun things.
Quick question. Running of the Blueberries, you said those monies go into a fund for the dog parks. Do they keep a separate balance within the budget?
It is totally separate from the general fund, yes.
Is there a 501c3 that's funding that, or is it just because the city's a 501c3 that we do it that way? In other words, is there an outside organization raising funds?
Not currently.
Okay.
And originally that was, there was like a dog park NAC group.
Yeah.
That was kind of, so that was originally their project. The city was a partner on it because the city would eventually own the dog park, because this is before we had our dog park established. That organization doesn't really exist anymore, so they basically said, we don't exist, we're not going to do it, so y'all can keep doing the run, which we have this past several years and done it on our own. But it is kept separate. It's treated like a special grant fund.
And what's the balance of those funds?
Do you remember how much?
Before the 13,000, it should be about 71,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so some other recent updates. We had some park openings. I hope some of you were able to come to those. So our Maroney Playground was finally reopened, and that was done on June 27th, and we had a reopening celebration. Robert McCrimmon Playground grand opening we had on May 30th, that's the middle picture there. And then our Temple Splash Pad opened for the first time this season, and we had our grand opening for that on May 16th. All right. And July is National Parks and Recreation Month. So just so you guys kind of know what we've been doing this month. So we've been focusing on the theme for the National Parks and Recreation Month is Build Together, Play Together. So we've been working off of that a little bit and running a social media campaign, if you guys have seen any of it on Facebook, of different things that we've been doing. And based on that campaign, we've gone up on pretty much everything: views, content interactions, the reach, and then also link clicks. So everything is up, so that's great. We're getting a lot of viewage from the public.
Yeah, the one that I like best, we just released on Friday or Saturday, where we interviewed
Saturday.
all of the parks guys who were out there actually mowing. And we asked all of them, you know, what's your favorite park? And they all got to answer. And it's been fun because a few of them, their family members have tagged them in it because they're not the ones that are typically featured on social media. Because there are parks laborers and operators, and so they've all taken a lot of ownership in that. So it's been fun to watch.
Was Tommy on
Tommy was on there.
there? What was your favorite park, Tommy?
All of them.
That's not what you said. You picked one. We told him he had to be like, I love all my parks the same, but he didn't do it.
Yeah.
They're all my babies.
And then we have some upcoming events. We're currently in the middle of doing our registration for our fall youth girls volleyball. Also, we're registering for fall adult softball and adult soccer. And then we have some fun events coming up. We have what we're calling Flashback Fitness. So basically kind of jumping back in time with our different fitness activities. The first one is actually this Friday, and we're calling it Kickboxing Fitness, but basically it's gonna be similar to Tae Bo, if you remember those videos from the 90s. And then we'll have step aerobics on the 8th, and dance fitness will be similar to Zumba on the 15th, and jazz exercise, which is more like jazzercise, will be on the 22nd, and then we're gonna do an adult P class the last Friday of the month.
Will that have a rope?
Like a climbing rope? No, sadly.
So let's go.
I know. We will do dodgeball though. There will be some dodgeball.
Dodgeball, we've got the big parachute, which is all I want to do. I just want to parachute. And you'll notice we put jazz exercise and kickboxing fitness because we don't have copyright to be able to say jazzercise or Tae Bo. But that's kind of the idea. And we're hoping with this one especially, it's going to reach a demographic like my age, Carly's age, where the rec center, maybe we don't have a ton for people our age unless it's, if we want to come play basketball at noon with all the 20-year-old boys, things like that. So I think this will fit kind of a fun demographic.
So yeah, and it's free to the public to come for these classes. So if you know anyone that might be interested, let them know. And then we also are doing a teen night. This will be our second one. We did one going into the summer, or it was right after, or right into spring break this last year, and it was pretty popular. So we're going to do this one going back into the school year, and offering just a fun, free teen event right before they go back to school.
Because how many people did we have at the
We had like,
spring break one?
I think we had like 50 kids show up, so pretty well attended.
And that's between, they're 12 to 17.
Okay.
Yeah, and we partner with the library on that one, so lots of different stuff, and you're getting to use the whole building, so it's really cool.
All right, and for park updates, as you can see, these covered benches that we are purchasing for the Robert McCrimmon
And Richie.
and Ritchie Street Parks with a PAL donation. So this is like the base model of kind of what the park benches will look like. But then here's some pictures of some other cities and what they've done. Yeah, okay, first donation from PAL. What they've done with their park benches. So kind of made them go into the theme of whatever area that particular park bench was in. So just some ideas there about that, and we'll be getting some designs and things like that once we figure out what they're going to kind of look like.
What are those surrounds made from? Are those metal or?
They are actually recycled wind turbines, like the
Okay.
blades that are on the wind turbines.
So aluminum maybe, or?
I think,
Composite.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Composite? So they're paintable and hold
yes,
up,
and
okay.
they're supposed to have a really long life, like when we talked to because PAL had made the donation for the covered benches already, and we're kind of looking at different types, and when we started looking at the longevity of the life on these, it was really long and just something that, we haven't seen anywhere else. And
Right.
Yeah, because we've had a history of putting art in the parks with sculptures, but we thought this was a really neat way to do it to where it's art, but it's also functional, because the other option was covered benches with fabric covers over them, and those fabric covers have a 2 to 5 year warranty depending on if a
Yeah.
tree hits them or not. These, I think the lifetime is something like 50 years. I mean, of course, they would have to be repainted here and there,
Yeah.
but the bench itself should not break down in less than 50 years, which is exciting. And this is covered by PAL, including the painting. We did hire a local artist, Tyson, who's done the basketball courts. And Joy, if you want to flip to the next one, Tyson actually gave us some preliminary drawings and wanted some feedback. There will be 3 of these benches. 2 are going to go at McCrimmon and 1 will go at Ritchie. And then Ritchie will also get a picnic table that's not covered because they wanted an additional one. And so again, these are preliminary. We'd kind of told them East Texas related, we want it to fit into the park, maybe pick up on some of the same colors in playgrounds, or if there's any basketball court murals like at Ritchie. And so they have one that has a deer on it with some trees. The middle one is pine cones, but more of like a pop art. The other one is kids in kind of a galaxy setting. So this was just kind of their initial, here's what we think would be cool. And I told them we would bring it to y'all to see if there's any feedback. If there's one that everyone's like, I really appreciate the art, but don't necessarily want that in the park, then that's fine. Or if there's ones like the pine cone, if you love the pine cone design, but would like a more muted color palette, we can give that feedback as well.
So do we pay Tyson to do this?
Yes. Yeah, we pay him for the design. He purchases the materials and then does the installation.
Yeah.
And all that was covered with the PAL donation, because we got the 3 benches at a good price and we're able to
Yeah.
use the rest of that donation to cover his art portion. Because if not, they come just that gray and they stay that gray forever.
And he would do the painting.
Yes.
To me, this would have been a fun event to maybe do, to accept entries, like for people to submit their ideas and see if we found something we like that way. But if we've already got an agreement with Tyson, I don't want to
And-
mess it up. What are y'all's thoughts on these designs?
I think that's a great idea, what you just said.
Oh,
And I can always ask Tyson as far as, if there's one design that we're like, I really don't love this one, we can always ask them if there's a way. I've seen certain cities where they've almost done like a paint my number where someone does an outline and they invite the public to come help them paint.
yeah.
So maybe since we have this agreement, if we can't do kind of a call for designs, it could be, can we have the painting itself be interactive? So that could be an option. I could run that by him.
Well, so who likes these designs?
I think it would be helpful to see them next to the playground colors and the basketball court colors.
Okay.
Because a standalone, they're kind of weird, but I think in
Yeah.
conjunction with the other colors in the park, they might look
That's a
okay.
good point. I didn't think about that.
Because I mean, he did the basketball court, so he would know at least those colors.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of, especially at Ritchie, he has that color palette because we just did that one not too long ago. And then McCrimmon, we sent him pictures of the playground because I'd kind of told him, like, I think the pine cones are fun. They're kind of pop art, but also I'd like them to match the playground color,
Yes.
which is more of the blues and greens and purples and things like that. So we can certainly send that back to him and kind of say, can we see this in a different color palette, or try to superimpose where they would go.
Can we go back to the earlier slide where you had other cities and what they had done with theirs? Because those weren't in parks, right? Those were kind of,
Some of them are, like, I think the butterfly one is in a park, and then,
The dog one's like at a dog park.
yeah.
And then the other, I think the one with the eagle is near a bus terminal, and the one with all of the photos is in a downtown area, but it's a
That's a
bigger
swing,
metropolitan.
too.
That one does have a swing.
That's cool.
They did ask us about that. It's a bit more expensive, and we were a little bit worried about,
There's
some
too many-
vandalism
yeah,
or
there's too many
breaking.
moving parts in that,
Yeah,
but it's really cool.
yeah, I mean, people are gonna be trying to be like, can I go over this in this kind of swing?
Yeah, when I first started looking at the company, I was like, what are you talking about? These things from a wind turbine.
Yeah.
And then I saw the pictures and I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. What is the cost? You're saying that? What ballpark,
Goodness.
what do they cost?
Let me see if I can find it real fast.
Yeah.
It's always shocking, whatever the number.
Yeah, they're expensive. Because I think the full donation, let's see, let me pull the quote.
I mean, this is what PAL's requested, right?
Yes. The full price for all 3 of the benches plus delivery was just over $25,000.
Okay.
And they were going from the directive, after the last time, this board talked about like McCrimmon Playground and
Yeah.
wanting covered benches. Since we didn't have that in the budget for McCrimmon, we told them, you know, we really need some covered benches. They're like, that's great. And then we found these, and it ended up being almost the same price as 3 covered benches and 2 picnic tables. So now we're getting 3 covered benches and 1 picnic table, so we only lost 1 picnic
Yeah.
table,
When-
which we budget for anyway in the parks budget.
When would this be installed? I mean, just roughly what?
They've had some supply chain issues, so we're hoping that, right now their tentative ship date to us would be around mid-August to late August. And then they'd have to be painted after
Would it
that,
be
so
really
that's-
difficult for you guys to produce a picture of the benches in the park or where it would be at the playground so that we could kind of get a sense of what that would look like? Is that really hard to do?
No, that should be fine. Yeah, because they're gonna have to be painted once they're installed, so we're
Yeah.
gonna have to pick out the installation spots very quickly anyway. So
Right.
we should be able to do
Yeah,
that.
but you've probably already thought about where you're gonna put them, and so.
We're gonna put
just-
them wherever Tommy tells us to.
Is that right? Okay.
No, but there's a few different spots over there that
Sure.
are not under shade currently with the trees and things like that. So we have a few places in mind.
The new playgrounds have been well received. I mean, if there've been complaints, or does it seem pretty positive?
I haven't heard any complaints. Our only issue was Temple, when we first put it in, we didn't realize that the push button on there, because Temple was installed roughly in December, which is not the great time to put a splash pad in. We didn't realize the button they put on there was in a run of them that were somewhat defective. So when we
Okay.
turned it on, it worked for 2 days and then broke, and they were like, oh yeah, that was one of the defective buttons. We just hadn't discovered it because it wasn't on for 6 months. But that one got replaced and has been working since then, minus a water main break that was further down that had nothing to do with splash pad.
Those splash pads should never break down.
Never. But Temple is not broken down, knock on wood, as much because it's not a recirculating system.
Right.
But I mean, we've heard all positive response so far from all of them.
Yeah, and there's always kids out in McCrimmon.
Yeah, right.
Those are neat. I'm just looking at them, I'm going, if you place those east-west, you're only gonna have sun coverage for about 30 minutes a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, they're gonna
Shade
be
coverage.
in the blur, so you're not really getting protection from the sun.
Yeah, and we can certainly look at the placement to make sure that they're getting the maximum shade coverage possible over there. So yeah, we'll look at that. But I can do some superimposing of what the benches will look like at those parks.
Yeah,
and
I
some-
think that would be
Yep.
helpful.
And what is PAL? You have to refresh my memory.
The Park Advocacy League, they started a little over 10 years ago as just a group of parents that wanted to advocate for the parks, because at that point we hadn't updated any playgrounds in probably 20 years or so, other than like breaking stuff that, you know, or fixing stuff that was immediately broken. So they're just a local group of parents that advocate. They've raised money. They do the local, what's it called, Hoops for Heroes, or it's a basketball tournament they do every year and raise funds. And they raised enough to where they were ready to make a donation so we could actually buy some cool stuff that falls outside of the city budget.
So is this 100% paid for by PAL?
Yes.
Any other questions, comments?
Any other input on the covered benches?
I don't even know if you need to superimpose, maybe just have a picture of the park and a picture of the bench. However,
Yeah, I don't
that's
want to
an
make
idea.
it super complicated for you. I'm just.
I'm not real tech savvy, so it might be
Yeah,
pretty low tech anyway.
Michael's right. I'm not trying to make it difficult. I'm just trying to, I mean, even just putting the art, putting those pictures next to the park or something, because I'm just having trouble looking at colors and thinking of, and I think that's a good point that Don brings up.
I know the electrical boxes that y'all have had painted throughout the town has been really nice to see versus just an ugly electrical box.
Oh, and I will mention one other thing. Jeffy Brewer, who is a former Parks Board member who does all like the bunny statue that everyone knows around town, he had a big whale tail one that was in his storage that he was like, I need a place for this. And so we told him, we're like, put it over at Temple because it's a whale tail, it's a
That's
splash
great.
pad. So Tommy and Carly met him out there last week and picked out a spot. So I think he's coming back sometime this week to actually install it.
That's great.
Yeah, so that one was free of charge. He was like, I repainted it, I need to get it out of the storage room. We're like, great, we'll take it.
Does he
Is
get
it-
a donation?
Is it on loan or is it permanent?
It's permanent.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm bolted to the concrete.
We can get
It's
bolted.
12 foot tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's been a few times he's called us, because like we have one sculpture over at the Stern-Henney Museum, and before he's been like, can I come grab that one and switch it out? I'm like, I don't care what you do. We didn't pay for it. He was just like, I would need a place to display it. And I was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, as of right now, it's a permanent, but you know, if he ever calls and wants to switch it out with something else, he needs to get out of a storage room, that's fine with me too.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, his art is all over the United States. So the fact that he gave us a piece to the community is actually a big deal.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and he will get a
told me
donation
when I
letter, a big thank
met
you
him
and that
last
sort of
week,
thing.
this well tail used to be in New York,
Oh, wow.
and something happened, and he went back up there to get it, and it's been sitting in his
So it's a
storage.
repo.
Maybe. We may benefit from that. We'll take-
For that notice.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all of our updates.
Thank you. We're still have to discuss Parks and Recreation annual budget and funding on the agenda.
You want to hand me the clicker? You want the clicker? Yeah, I can do that. Yes, so this one, we had this more on the schedule for our last meeting. We
Yeah.
didn't have a quorum, but so I just wanted to let y'all know, just because city council has their schedule that we have to try to catch up with. So I know this is a bit busy, but this is essentially our funding request. These are supplemental items that are not general fund where it's like office supplies and, you know, gas and things like that. This is more of those big ticket items. So these are a list of all the things we requested. And then I went ahead and kind of marked out the things that have already been cut, or we voluntarily said, you know, this is more of a want instead of a need. So that way we could take those things out. So there's things like, Tommy requested a mosquito fogger because 2 of our mosquito foggers, they're both the same age. One is kind of putting along, but at this point, it still technically works. It's just not as efficient. We have to fix it a little bit more often. But with city budgets, when they were kind of asking, like, offer up some cuts, it's still working, so we can limp along with it. If all else fails, if one goes down, we still have a mosquito fogger. It just makes our mosquito fogging program a little less efficient, but we can still do it. And of course, even with that program, it's a bit of a bigger issue because it all kind of depends on the city manager you have at the time, and the city council you have at the time, because some have desperately wanted the mosquito fogging program, others haven't seen as big of a necessity. So right now it hasn't been pushed, mainly because we haven't got as many complaints. We've been a bit short-staffed, so that one wasn't necessarily a we have to have it need.
Right.
There's some other things that have made it going forward, like the Oak Grove fence replacement. There's a pavilion floor out at Lake Nack West, which has a really big crack in it that we're very afraid someone's gonna break an ankle. Some other things that we cut out were like some musical equipment at Lakeside Park, which I think would be cute. It's big flowers that you hit and it makes musical sounds. But at the same time, you know, that's definitely more of a want than a need. Same thing with the Schaffner Loop sign at that new trailhead. Not that that one's on a need. I do think we need an identification over that trail, but I think there are grants we can get to cover that.
Yeah.
We also have our local garden groups that are very, very generous. We just received one donation, so we're going to see if we can get a match for it, which should pay for that. And there's a few other things that Tommy's very good at wheeling and dealing some of these things, like a trailer. We needed it for a new tractor that we are going to receive that's in our equipment replacement fund. But Water Utilities is getting a new trailer, so we're going to take their old one. So that way we don't have to buy something new. We also, out at McCrimmon, we wanted to put a fence around the new playground to keep the kids from running into the parking lot. We had enough left over in that McCrimmon bond account that way we didn't have to put it in the city supplemental request. We used bond funds for it since it was still at that park. And then there's a few other things like our personnel request. As of right now, City Council had their first meeting on July 15th. The only position that's being proposed currently is one code enforcement officer. So these requests were not included, but we will continue to ask for them because Tommy, we need some relief and some additional staff, but that's just not in the budget right now. And then our equipment replacement items, those are tractors and lawnmowers and things like that once we purchase them, the city goes ahead and starts saving money to eventually replace them when they run out. So those aren't necessarily new dollars, it's just dollars we've been waiting on until those pieces of equipment have to be switched out, that we go ahead and buy new ones. So we'll have that, and then Pioneer Park security cameras. Joy got in contact with a really good company that will do security cameras out at Pioneer Park. We're gonna see if there's some other funding that can help supplement that. Because as of right now, it's $14,000 out of the general fund. but there may be some other funds connected to, Crime Stoppers or other organizations like that, because this would be a camera that picks up illegal dumping or any other kind of crime at Pioneer, because illegal dumping has been a very big issue at Pioneer Park lately. Thank goodness they're not dumping stuff all over the park. It's just they go to our dumpster when they move out of an apartment or out of a house, and they leave all of their belongings.
Is that just equipment, or is that some type of monitoring?
It's the monitor, so it's monitoring and the equipment. So it's the actual physical camera, but it also has 24/7 monitoring. It also gives the company that is kind of putting it on, they have 24/7 monitoring, so that if they see something illegal, they automatically contact police.
Was that the 3-year contract?
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is also the
Okay.
equipment and the 3-year contract costs, but we have to budget it all at once to prove that we have that money to pay this company.
And these personnel requests, are those new employees or are these replacement employees?
These are new employees we're requesting.
Okay.
Last year we requested 1 full-time laborer, or no, we requested 2 full-time laborers.
Did we get them?
We did not. So this year we are requesting a full-time laborer and a full-time parks maintenance staff.
What's the difference?
So the laborer is more of the mowing, weed eating, kind of boots on the ground guy. This parks maintenance position that we were requesting, this would be someone that would help with our city maintenance staff, because the city itself has 2 maintenance personnel for all of our buildings, all of our parks, everything. But this would be a person that's dedicated to maintenance in this building, at all of the parks, all the park restrooms. They would do the playground, safety inspections, all those sorts of things. But then also if we're replacing an AC unit on the roof of the police station, they would go help our other 2 maintenance staff. So we requested that, but as of right now, it's not in the proposed city budget.
Are you expecting more cuts, or is this the worst of the cuts?
I'm assuming the list, as I have it kind of redlined right here, will go forward. I haven't heard anything, but at the same time, council has their next budget workshop on August 19th. So there's still that possibility, but I believe between our departments and the few others that request things out of our general fund reserves, I believe they got it to a point where we can do the things we need to. There's still money for next year, and there's still, money left above the reserve limit we have to have. So I think this will go forward. There's one other slide, which I know again is very busy. I brought this the last time we met in March. A bit of a kind of description of our capital projects that are in progress, ones that are going to roll over, and then our general fund reserve projects for this current budget year and kind of where we are. We've made a lot of progress since March. Festival Park roof has been completely replaced. Bonita Creek Park fence has been replaced. There's a Pine Grove Cemetery arch and flagpole and light. The flagpole and light is installed, and then the PO is issued for the arch. Oak Grove Cemetery fence, we were waiting on it to stop raining. It finally has, so that contractor should be out here pretty soon to fix that fence. Maroney Playground repair is done. Ceiling replacement, which is our little drive-through area out front, got fully replaced. We were a little scared because the contractor said, yeah, I went out there to start demoing it, touched it, and it caved in. So that was a little scary, but we're very thankful we got out there in time to fix it. Turns out it was interior ceiling that was put on the outside 20 years ago, so we're very thankful it lasted that long, so that's great. Restroom locks are in progress. We're putting together a bid package to put locks on 3 of the park restrooms. Painting in this building is scheduled for 2 weeks from now, so it's going to be a little bit of a mess around here. We're painting our hallway, art room, dance room, areas like that haven't been painted in quite a while. And then Tommy does playground border replacement every year. They did Pecan Park today, right?
Yeah,
Almost done. So instead of having the landscape timbers, it's more of the plastic material that will last a lot longer. So any questions on that?
The other soccer, can you back up 2 slides, back up 1 more? Okay, so you got soccer improvements up there
Yes.
at $50,000.
Correct.
And then on the next side, you got water drain at 75. What is the $50,000? What is it to improve? Is there a breakdown on that? And is that just a throw at me number, or is that something that's been researched and you need exactly $50,000? Because that's kind of bland there.
Okay. So that, and that's been a few different moving pieces over the last couple years. Soccer has not had any major drainage improvements, fields improvements, anything like that in the past probably 20, did you say ever? A very, very long time. And if you go out to that soccer complex, you can tell it's grown, but not in necessarily a planned way. It's been more of this area is kind of flat-ish. We're gonna put a soccer field there, so it hasn't had any major master planning to it. So what that's gonna do is gonna be topping fields, it's gonna be improving some lighting, improving drainage, restriping fields. We are also here pretty soon gonna be repurposing the front of that complex. It'll be announced by our council here pretty soon, and so we are gonna have to relocate some fields, and we're gonna have to improve some parking areas. Excuse me. Also, Carly's in the process of writing a Texas Parks and Wildlife grant that we're hoping that will match a lot of these funds. That will help us do, if we get approval, will help us do a complete road loop through that complex. So that way we have more than one way to enter and exit. Because right now it gets a little scary if you have a lot of people in there. It'll do that. It'll improve lighting, some improved parking lot areas. Also amenities like a bike lane through there because a lot of people bike down to the complex, which is great. And will kind of help us locate our littlest kids in the less populated portion of that soccer complex, because right now they're right up front off Rolfe Street. And so if you have a 6-year-old, you're running across the busiest part of the street, and we've had a lot of near misses. Thank God they've all been near misses. So we're going to be relocating those fields. The good thing is we're hoping Texas Parks and Wildlife will donate us some money, so that will kind of reimburse the city for a lot of this. Also, Nacogdoches Youth Soccer Association has socked away quite a bit of money, and so they will be matching a lot of that as well. So it's going to be kind of we're putting everybody's money in the pot to do a big renovation of that entire complex.
Is that actually a floodplain, or is the soccer complex itself in the floodplain?
Portions, not all of it. But portions are, but then it kind of goes uphill once you go towards Mound Street and Church Street in the Festival Park area. So there are some areas that flood, but we are looking at improving the opposite side.
What's the city council gonna announce about the front of the soccer complex?
That it will be repurposed.
Or,
They will have to announce that.
okay, so are you aware of what it is?
Yes.
Okay. And I know the city council's the ultimate authority here, but was the Parks Advisory Board were we asked for advice in any way concerning that decision?
Not on this portion of it. So for this, we had some city staff that went and talked to NYSA about how the fields operate and things like that. And then it was taken to city council in executive session to discuss repurposing some of the land and how that would affect the complex overall. It will be a very, very big improvement. So it's exciting stuff that's coming, and once city council announces it and it kind of goes public, then I'd be happy to share it,
But the soccer folks didn't have a problem with it?
no. And
Well, you really don't have a choice. The city said it's our land, we're gonna do what we want to with it, and we said, we love it. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. There's a lot of exciting stuff that can happen with the improvements.
Okay. The employees that got the red line through them that you didn't get to hire, how big of an impact does that have on you?
It's a real big impact. I've been running I'm down 3 employees right now, all since spring.
Yeah.
I can't get them hired.
So
And
wait,
That would have helped.
so those are new positions, but you can't replace
some that's been vacant.
because you can't find people, or because because you can't find people?
Can't find qualified people.
Okay.
and one of them is our park
An
supervisor.
operator has to know how to drive a backhoe, a tractor, and
Yeah.
about 90% of the ones that are filling out applications don't even know how to get on and start a tractor.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
And one of them is our park supervisor position. Some of y'all may have met Hector, that was here for 20 years. He recently took a management position in Lufkin. And so a lot of that was replacing Hector, and that one we're a bit choosy on, because in theory, if Tommy wins the lotto and leaves tomorrow, we need someone that can take his position. So it's not just I can drive a backhoe and I know how to open Microsoft Excel. We need someone that's, managed people and has a way of, dealing with projects and kind of the long-term planning. So, but we did offer that position to someone that I think will be very good. So he's going through background checks and stuff like that right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was wondering if this August meeting for budget discussions for the city council, if there's any way that we could help get those positions approved, but if we can't find qualified people for spots that are already open, I don't know. But it's
Right now, the maintenance that she's talking about, we need a maintenance.
Yeah,
My best operators that I have on staff now are doing that maintenance.
wow.
So then that leads me.
Takes them away from the, yeah,
My guys, pretty much this whole summer have been working 7:30, 8 o'clock at night,
yeah,
just to keep up with the mowing and stuff.
yeah.
And of course, the rain didn't help. This rain.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
had a lot of rain.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think the maintenance position, we have quite a few people that applied for like our supervisor position that would have been great at maintenance, but had no experience with budgeting, supervising, long-term planning. So it may have been great for maintenance, but wouldn't have been great for supervisor. So that's one we were a bit disappointed about, but at the same time, if anyone feels very strongly about it, you're more than welcome to talk to your council person. And then of course and that August 19th meeting is open to anybody, so any of y'all are welcome to attend. It actually will be here in this room. They tend to have it here because since it is a council work session, they tend to put pencil to paper and work through some things. And we have a lot of people that attend, so you're more than welcome to attend that as well if you'd like to. So that is all on our budget.
Okay.
And I was gonna see if it's okay with y'all if we skip up to the Mill Pond, or we skip to Mill Pond Park.
Sure. Is it because we don't need to discuss the dog park?
No, I was gonna just say for time's sake, the Mill Pond Park one is the more pressing one, because there
Okay.
is a time clock kind of attached to that one.
Okay.
All right. So Mill Pond Park, as you all know, is one of the parks that was included in the bond for a new playground. So Game Time, who is our contractor that we typically use, just announced that their fall grant is open, which is great. It's the same thing we utilize from McCrimmon, where any of their units that are connected, so all the pieces they connect together, if we buy it during their grant period, we get a very significant discount. I think we got something like $90,000 in discounts from McCrimmon, which is great. Lets us get a much bigger playground, a very good use of our taxpayer dollars. So since they just opened that, it closes mid-October. So we were hoping to get some feedback from y'all on just kind of some brainstorming ideas we had, because we'll kind of get some direction from y'all, get it over to Game Time, let them kind of work their playground magic and come up with a few proposals. So that way we can, at our September meeting, kind of look at our design we have, make sure we're good with it, and then tell them to go ahead and order. So the overall direction we had so far, just after meeting with Game Time and talking with Tommy and our staff, is Mill Pond, if y'all haven't been out there, is beautiful. It's very wooded. There used to actually be a retention pond out there for the lumber mill that was there. So it's just a very scenic area. So we wanted to make sure that this playground fits with the environment. It's nothing like a huge spaceship or something crazy out there. We wanted it to be cohesive with the park. We had hoped for some muted colors, but still vibrant, so they're still fun, but they're not hot pink or anything like that. We've said 3 bays of swings, because no matter how many swings you put out there, people will ask for more swings. McCrimmon has worked out pretty well. We have the 3 bays of swings. They're almost always full, so that's a pretty good number. And also no fully enclosed elements. That's just kind of one of our operating procedures around here, because the more fully enclosed areas you have, kids get picked on, people sleep in there. So we want to make sure that there's clear lines of sight throughout the whole thing. Our budget is not to exceed $240,000. That's what was put into the bond. Just for reference, we spent $223 at McCrimmon for that unit, and then used the rest of it to put together, or to put up the fence, to put the the playground mulch. So that way it's $240 is what we have total to spend at that park on playground improvements. So we're not going to spend every dime on the playground, similar to what we did at McCrimmon. So that way we can get a good playground structure, but still afford the other things to go with it. So as of right now, the staff kind of went through the Game Time catalog and we picked out some of the items that we really liked, and some of the units we really liked, and some of the elements. So we wanted to run it by y'all to see if y'all had any feedback on them. And just for reference, this is one picture of Mill Pond. You can see the basketball court there. There's a pavilion in the background. This is what is currently there. There's some swings. There is a slide from 1972, roughly, We were out there the other day and it's fully metal and I touched it and it's real hot. Pretty sure I would have burned my legs
I
off.
have a question.
Yeah,
I'm looking at that swing set. Is that what you mean by 3-bay?
That's the old style 3-bay. The other one's, the new one's more of a, just one solid pole down in the ground. But that's a 3-bay.
I'm just 'cause-
That is a 3-bay swing set, yes.
At
It's
work,
got three,
bay is this
it's got
big.
3 separate sections.
yeah, and the bays will hold 2 standard swings, or if you're gonna do like an adaptive swing, like we have at McCrimmon, that will have 1 because it have to have a certain amount of space around it. But yes, that is 3 bays.
Is there a restroom at this park?
There is not right now, but it is slated to get one in the bond.
There used to be, we tore it
You can
down.
see it behind there.
Yes, I was looking and not remembering that.
Yeah, and most of our restroom structures were still there up until a few years ago, but weren't functional, and so it was,
Yeah, they gotta go.
we just demolished them. Right here is kind of an aerial shot. Over to the right-hand side is the basketball court. The red square is the approximate location of where the playground will go. It's almost exactly on top of the old one, except scooted over just a little bit, because the current one is a weird kind of triangle looking thing on one side. So we just squared it off and moved it over a bit. And we'll also be putting a fence in front of that just to make sure kiddos don't run straight to the road. The challenge out here, and it's a neat park, but it feels like the entire park is a bit on a slope because it's going down to like a pond area, or was a pond there. And so we have to get in a very specific spot to put a playground, because if you get, over a 6-foot drop, then you're looking at retaining walls and washouts and things like that. So the playground needs to go in that area. So this is one of the playground units that, as a staff, we liked and picked out. Of course, the colors are not what we picked out or anything like that. Colors can change. Elements can change throughout here. So we were even looking at like, oh, well, we like this rope element on the side of it, but I think there's better ones, so that could possibly be switched out. As a staff, we kind of liked that it had kind of the castle feel, similar to Moroni, which is not something we have at any other playground. So this is one of the ones we were thinking about. We also like this one, what's it called? Chase Creek. I'm obsessed with the little bamboo ones on one side. I think that's so fun. We have something similar-ish at Bonita, where it's like poles that go straight up and down and have a pine tree on the top, and kids use them all the time. My kiddo loves them. So we like this one. It has a very large slide on one end, kind of a rock wall, and has a bunch of slides, which kids always tend to love. And then we also picked out some of the amenities that we thought were kind of neat. One's called like an inchworm, which is obviously the little one with steps. There's a duo spinner, the big blue thing in the middle where 2 kids sit facing each other and they spin around real fast. There's the little hoop things in the middle which kids crawl through. There's a swinging bench, which we thought would be kind of fun. That actually doesn't get located in the playground area. It's a bench next to it, but you can sit there and swing. And then there's like a little ropes course, which I thought was neat. So that way you could have a ropes course that is somewhat detached. So that way you can almost have bigger kids playing on that and have smaller kids playing on the playground unit. Things like McCrimmon, that ropes course is kind of right in the middle of the playground. So it's hard to maybe have a 2-year-old up there with fear that they may come down it. But this may be a fun way to have older kids and younger kids. So we just kind of really wanted y'all's kind of feedback on, do you like either one of these units? Is it something where you'd like to see them smushed together? Have you seen something somewhere else that you'd like us to look into?
They both look great.
Yeah, I like the second one a lot. If you want that to be a naturalistic setting, that to me feels like it should be more in nature.
And do colors like brown and forest green that match the trees.
What's this is within the budget?
Yes. I believe this one, and of course this is without installation, but I think this unit itself is $180 or so.
Yeah.
We always look at ones that are on sale anyway, and then we tend to get an even deeper discount on the grant. Then there is installation cost, like for McCrimmon, don't check my math, but it was, the installation itself was like $89,000. We spend a little over $3,000-ish on the playground mulch. And then the actual cost of the unit at McCrimmon was like $120 something.
Can you go back to Chase Creek?
Yes.
Okay. I've been in 3 parks. The big tube slide, right where it makes that turn again, within 3 years, every one of them develops a crack.
Okay.
which shuts down that too.
Okay. Yeah, and there's one element of, I don't really think it's on either one of these, maybe on that one. We really like the racing slides, where it's like, isn't that what it's called, the racing slide? It's like two slides next to each other, they're attached, but there's a divider in the middle where like the kids can race each other down. So maybe something instead of a twisty slide, we see if we can get a race slide
A
somewhere.
race slide would be really cool.
Yeah.
If I keep seeing them broke within 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm in the maintenance business and I'm going, this is an issue that we're gonna be buying.
Has that been your
real
experience, Tom?
fast. Tommy's gonna have to go fix it.
Has that been your experience? They break at the bins?
We've, the one in Pioneer, the only thing that's happened in Pioneer is where it's actually attached to the unit. It broke, and we had to replace that first little thing going down.
Have you been sliding on it?
No. I'm scared I might get stuck in it.
Can you go to the accessory parts there? How do these people spin?
Had what?
Somebody spins them, or is there? There is?
Yeah, it's like a pole or something that, or a circle that comes in the middle that you
I
twist.
just can't see it, okay.
Like a steering wheel.
Yeah, like a steering wheel.
I like
Like a
this.
T-Club ride.
Exactly.
I like the swinging bench and the worm looking thing.
I'm thinking
Oh,
the
yeah, the
bench
H
would be a great place for a parent to sit when
Yeah.
the kids are playing.
Yeah.
I'm at that point in my life.
So do we ever do an impact or a study on people using this park, knowing that there's not many people that ever go in that park? I'm seeing $240,000 spent. And I don't know that it's gonna draw a lot of people. Has that been studied at all in that area? Because that's not a very high traffic area anymore.
So I'd have to pull the numbers, but we do have some numbers about like that pavilion rental and things. That's the only way on the staff side as of right now we can track that, because we don't have trail counters or park counters or anything like that. But we have asked Ashley Acosta, who came and met with y'all before we did McCrimmon, for some demographics on that site, which will tell us, you know, how many people live in the area, what the age range of the kids. So I'm waiting to get that back. Right now we're operating on the, you know, designing for 5 to 12, which is the most common range of playground structures. So we're looking at that right now, but if that comes back and says there's nothing but toddlers around here, we may be able to look at a different unit.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's a need for playground at all, because I've been there, I swear 30 times, and I've never seen the first person there. So, I mean, if there's not people there now, there's adequate stuff to play with. They keep a nice park there. Why would we want to spend this kind of money? Because it's available in the bond, or because there's a need? If we can move this money somewhere else and do something with it and enhance something else, that would be better than having something at that piece of property. And that's just my opinion, but I've never seen anybody there. So,
And I think some of that is, you know, depending on what side of the argument you fall on, a lot of people didn't used to visit Pioneer Park until we put in disc golf and a playground and parking lots and things like that. So we have seen a rise in attendance at all of our parks when we put in new amenities. We tend to see people that are like, well, I don't go to that park because there's nothing there. And also in the bond, it was written out that these locations would have playgrounds or restrooms, and our directive from our city council is to follow what the voters voted on. So there may not be a ton of attendance here right now. Again, I don't have a way to track that, other than looking at who rents the pavilion. But I think as we improve this park, I think there will be more attendance. I know there's been discussion about, can we move some disc golf baskets over here, or could it be another location for a dog park? So I think the more amenities you add, the more use you have.
have we got some kind of record on the attendance of the pavilion? You said you've been keeping up with that?
It's in our system, so I can pull it. I don't know the number off.
I can't say off the top of my head. I know I personally have rented out Mill Pond at least 2 to 3 times a year to people that have told me that they live in the area. So there definitely are people that live there that are utilizing the park. I don't know how often they're going when they're not renting the pavilion, but they for sure are using it at least a few times a year for big like events, family events, family reunions, things like that.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't matter.
Oh, 'cause we're an advisory board.
The bond was passed on putting a playground at Mill Pond.
Yes,
So-
and our director from council as of right now has been to follow what was
Yeah,
in the
so
bond
no matter
package.
what, there's gonna be a playground at Mill Pond.
Now, can we go back? You had a picture, Ariel showed the basketball court.
Yes.
I don't know how many of y'all have been there. A long time ago, that court cracked running across. The water has gone through the crack and eroded under the basketball court. And of course, the only way to repair that is to demolish the cement and come in and rebuild. I don't want to see a whole lot of money spent on that basketball court. He's aware, I do test drives through that street 2 or 3 times a day, so I have a good idea what's going on in the neighborhood. I'd like to see enough of the court left where there are kids that go down there by themselves and just shoot baskets. But as far as spending the money to totally revise that whole basketball court, that's just way too much money for the amount of use I ever see happening there.
Yeah, and as of right now, our only plans are to eventually paint it because it is kind of slick when it gets wet right now, and then replace or repaint the backboards and nets, but not to scrape and re-pour or anything like that. That's not kind of in the long-term plan at this point.
Where's the parking in this park?
There is
That little area with no grass.
right there to the right of that little white driveway. That's where people park. It's not a built parking lot. It's just where they park.
And in the budget right now, we do have money for a Mill Pond parking lot. We base the number off what it costs to put the parking lot over at Ritchie Street Park. We are gonna look for an alternate material, just since this one isn't as heavily used, and Ritchie Street is also all ADA compliant. So it's bigger spaces, you get less spaces, has to attach to sidewalks. Since this one is not a fully ADA compliant park, we don't need to do the exact same type of parking lot. So we do have some money for a parking lot. We probably just won't do the fully huge paved area. More than likely be something closer to Millings or something like at the soccer complex, just maybe packed down a bit.
Yeah, because the street right there is triple wide. Okay, and you could park all along that curb and not be blocking traffic at all.
Okay, so it's a 3-lane street, which is allowed parking on a 3-lane street.
It's not a 3-lane street. It's a wide street, but it ain't 3 lanes.
Gotcha.
But I think there still can be some on-street parking and then limited off-street
A
parking.
lot of the park is so old, a lot of the bigger trees are starting to die. I know Tommy's had crews down there cutting out the dead ones. And
We got them in every park. Trees are dying everywhere.
trees only live so long.
And either it's too hot or it's too wet, and they come down either way. That's been all sorts of fun.
Can we keep them merry-go-round?
I don't think that actually fits state standards for safety anymore.
It builds character.
It does build character.
So did that hot spot.
Yeah, so does
You
lots.
can buy a merry-go-round.
Yeah. You could go out there and use it while
The
it's still
last
there.
one left in town, but Richie's one.
Oh, that's right, Richie's gone.
This is literally the last merry-go-round. This is the last merry-go-round in East Texas.
We have one more besides that one.
Where is it?
Where?
It's at the West Side Lake.
I've actually never been there.
There you go.
Now we know where to go visit before they disappear
We're gonna have
forever.
an event. Last merry-go-round. And I can-
Well, Tommy told us, he's like, this is where people used to put their motorcycle tires and spin this and see how long the kids could hold on. I'm like,
I've heard that
I
story
was like, I don't know if I
before.
trust your judgment anymore, honestly. Kind of scared of that. Goodness.
So we're leaning towards the other one, right? Is that what we said, Chase Creek? And you
Yeah,
have a
with a
good
double
sense-
slide.
Yeah.
Double
Without
slide,
that- Without that tube slide.
yeah.
That's a great idea.
And we were looking at some freestanding elements like Joy's heard, and I think we've all kind of heard different feedback from people. We heard some kids that were like, I want more spinny things because they like to spin it like the merry-go-round. They want to spin and make themselves dizzy, and so I'm like, okay, have at it. So like with our other playgrounds, you'll have kind of a connected unit, which we get a big discount on. We'll have slides, and then usually we have 2 to 3 kind of freestanding things within the playground area. So as of right now, we're going to tell them like, let's spin them to death.
Okay.
You can go on Game Time website and look. They got the newer version of the seesaws. They're pretty neat.
Okay,
We were looking at that too.
okay.
They got all kind of different amenities you put in there with them.
That would look really good there.
Yeah, they had one version that had a weird green color where I was like, I would prefer a forest green instead of, it was kind of a pea green. And I don't think most people would like that. But the good thing is we kind of pick out one or two color schemes were, because at first they were like, well, what color do you want this pole or this slide or this panel? I'm like, I like this color scheme. You tell me how it fits on that one.
Yeah.
So I think they'll do a good job of that.
Okay, what else do you need from us as far as input?
That's it as of right now. We will have our contract with Game Time on our council agenda either August 19th or the first one in September. That just sets their not to exceed amount that we cannot spend over that.
Yeah.
We'll give this feedback to Game Time, and then at our September meeting, we'll come back to y'all and kind of say, hey, here's what we came up with. We have time to do a few edits here and there, but all of it will be based on y'all's feedback, our staff feedback, and then if we're good with it, we'll tell them to go ahead and order. And then usually it's 8 weeks or so before they get all of the pieces to their contractor who installs it, and then we set the install date with them.
Okay.
So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a new playground.
And the parking lot improvement will be part of the budget?
Yes.
That number?
It is currently in our current year budget. We had already told our finance staff we're going to roll it over to our next budget year because we didn't want to build a parking lot and have contractors in there and accidentally tear up the parking lot while we're installing a playground. So we said we'll do the playground and the parking lot around the same time.
Okay.
So that way we can tear up the whole area at one time
Right.
and make a
Okay.
mess all at once.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we will forward this on to Game Time and we'll give them some feedback.
All right. Discussing, are we going back to the dog park or no?
Sure.
Did we have additional things to discuss on the dog park?
We had talked at one of our other meetings about, we have that $70,000-ish of money, that's dog-eared to do something for the dog park. And so we were looking for direction. It doesn't have to be discussed today.
Yeah.
I know we were close to 5 o'clock. So it's not something that we have to get done today, but it was kind of a proposal on
Yeah, okay.
do some
on our
improvements.
part, yeah. So did anybody have any discussion they wanted to have about the dog? Did you come prepared? Anybody come prepared with it?
I have throughout the years done a physical and aerial photograph into other locations for the dog park. One of which would be Mill Creek Pond, to put a dog park there to help drive people to that park. And there's a lot of beautiful shaded spaces, and it's out of a floodplain, so you could easily put a hurricane fence to keep the dogs in. And there's lots of grassy area there for them. And then another one is it Ritchie Street, the one that's the ADA?
Yes.
There's a old empty lot to the side of that used to be for a water pump, water well. And there's already parking and driveway there, and all you would need to do is put a fence in there as well, and that would help drive people to that park as well.
That's city property?
Yes,
Yes.
right next to it.
We used to have a stockpile of our iron ore gravel there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, in both of those locations, I mean, in a perfect world would be to make both of those dog parks.
Yeah,
And then that would drive people to both of those parks.
Yeah.
Which would have brand new equipment there. Just like Pioneer Park, the disc golf
Yeah.
drove people to that park.
Sure.
And that park went from being a crime fest to being a great park again.
right.
And I would think that the same thing would happen with those two parks if we put dog parks there.
So the city, do y'all have any input on that, on those two locations? You're familiar? Do those sound like viable locations for you?
Yeah, I've actually talked to Jessica about extending the dog park that we got now, going toward, right down beside the pickleball courts.
Right.
And making
We've
it-
discussed that before, haven't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was out there that time.
Yeah, and that was kind of a bit of this discussion is expanding what we currently have and adding some amenities and then really planning on where the next dog park goes, if we want a secondary dog park, kind of what that looks like, because we do, I have the number, it's that $71,000 is in that special grant fund specifically for dog parks, so.
Yeah.
So we can look at a secondary location, and also if there's an appetite for it, we could extend the one we currently have and add some more stuff out there.
I mean, is there any way, do y'all have any input on those two locations?
I saw one, I walk by it all the time. The only problem I saw was the parking lot is about 1,000 feet from where the park would be.
For which one?
What are we talking
About
about?
1,000 feet walk.
From what park are you talking about right now?
The Schaffner Loop Trail parking lot.
Oh, that was okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm following now.
If you go down the trail heading south and you cross the little, I call it the low water cement, there's a big field there. It's just by pacing it out a little over 2.5 acres. When the last big flood came, it had maybe an inch of water in there. It was the first one to drain. Normally it stays dry. But it is a fairly level, big cleared field. I walked it out and came up with 400, it's not quite rectangular, but it was about 400 to 450 feet if we stayed away from the edge of the trees so we don't have limbs hitting the fence. And I thought, well, you know, once this was mowed down, there's already some small trees that Forest Service has planted there. So you have trees inside it.
Yeah.
It's already city. But the one thing when people walk, you know, I know it seems funny they're out exercising the dog, but I can see some people going,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
that's
too
too far
far.
to walk
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
dog park.
And I think we looked into that years ago, and it got into floodway and floodplain issues with putting a fence
Yeah.
in that area. Because it was, you're right, that is a huge area that you could make a giant dog park there.
Yeah, just this one field I looked at, because I know it's the only field when we have a heavy rain that isn't sitting in water and boggy for weeks at a time. It's, you know how most of it, I'm sure you're aware of that down there, that a lot of it's just topsoil that gets the water saturated. This one field doesn't do that. And like I said, even in the big flood, it was dry. As soon as the rain stopped, it drained real quick.
Well, with the budget of, if it was the 70 plus the 13, I guess, I mean, and really the main cost is fencing, I'm guessing, is that right?
Fencing, and then depending on where you're coming from, we do run water in there, so we have water
Yeah.
fountains and things like that. And then there's a little bit of concrete, because at the entry, we do
Yeah.
concrete area to
Sure.
do the fence into, to make sure we don't lose any dogs, so we're taking them off leash.
Is there any way to ballpark what these locations would cost?
We can pull together some ballpark prices, especially
You
for
would think you could
Richmond.
do all three, expand and then do the 2 parks for 80,000.
Depends on what kind of fence and how tall, but I mean, I think there's a possibility, because like we put together some preliminary numbers for if we were gonna expand this a bit. And this is the current dog park, and this is the multi-use courts it backs up to. So we talked about expanding, I can't see that number anymore, about 15,000 feet-ish. And we got some updated fencing prices, so I mean, if we added a ton of amenities and expanded the fence, we could spend $35,000. If we're just wanting to do the additional fence, that's roughly $10,000 in additional fencing.
Okay.
So I mean, it kind of depends on what amenities you want to put. I think when you first establish it, it's a little bit more just putting that concrete, running the utilities, and putting up all the fence. But I think we could easily expand the one we have and possibly add a second one. But I haven't priced that out, but we can definitely look at those 2 locations.
I remember we got Goodwill to help with the fence at Ritchie.
Yes.
Did they express any desire to help with fencing and other projects, did they say?
They haven't yet, but I still am in contact with their director of the East
Okay.
Texas area, so I can reach out.
All right. So maybe it is doable.
Can you back that
Cut
one
back on the
slide?
amenities a little bit.
So the land that's to the north of that right there, where the makeshift soccer is,
Yes.
why can't we incorporate all of that all the way to Power Street in one great big dog park and
You know, the
satisfy the
kids,
big dog run?
that field there is used too much by those soccer kids every day.
Yeah, we've had, because it was a practice football field for years.
We took-
Took down the goalpost.
Took
I went
down
totally
the
blank on that.
goalpost.
And we
put
put soccer nets out there, and it's been heavily used since then, which also helps us keep people off of the Sportsplex area and NYSA when we're trying to get seed to grow, do maintenance, because we have a lot of adult teams that want to go out there and practice. We've had some conflicts with adults trying to practice while kids are supposed to be having practice, so we kind of made this a relief field. So it's been pretty heavily used for that, but it all is city property.
That's good that it's being used.
So maybe we should work up some drawings for these other two ideas. My worry is the flood thing as far as the Schaffner. I mean, I don't know how I get the answer to that question, but I agree. I think we have looked at that spot before. I mean, I feel like if we could get some tentative drawings of 1 and 2, and if you want to do 3, I'm fine with that. We can consider, maybe you could get answers on flooding. And then come up with some fence, some dimensions, so we can see what the fencing, because that's going to be the biggie, and then the plumbing. If those locations don't have water available, we need to know that kind of stuff. But can we do that? Ballpark some those ideas?
And I think from a maintenance standpoint, you're already mowing those parks. And so you're not mowing by the creek probably yearly or twice a year.
Yeah, we don't, we just mow the side of the trail when we can, when it's dry
So
enough.
that would add an additional maintenance.
That's a good point.
To everything, but you're already mowing those parks, so it's not adding more green space to maintain.
So let's just start with those 2 ideas, and then we'll also, this will be the third, the expansion of what we already have. And then let's run some numbers and see where we're at. And I would recommend that everybody go visit these sites before our next meeting, so that you'll have a real sense of what's going on there. And you might describe the one where the Ritchie one is again.
So when you're driving, what is the name of the road when you're driving up to Ritchie? Ritchie's on your right.
Towers.
That's rich.
That's Richard Street.
Ritchie Street.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're going west on Ritchie Street,
No, Ritchie Street's running north and
That's
south.
Powers, isn't it?
Powers is the other.
so you're
side.
going west on Power Street, and right when you get to the stop sign, you take a right, and there's Ritchie Street Park on your right.
Yeah.
And right there to the left, there's a huge empty lot, and that's city property.
It's got an old pump station on that.
I mean, it already has gravel in the driveway, the curb is cut,
The
and
only
there's
thing,
gravel,
the
there's
only thing
trees.
about that area there, I do not know if we have, I know it has that pump, that old pump station. I don't know if we have access to water, or would we have to cut across the street to get water?
And what's the size of the?
It's big, it's a
It's
pretty
big.
good sized area.
It is.
Can you find out if we got water there?
It is.
Yeah, we can
Yeah, it is definitely the size of the current dog park. You can easily fit the current dog park in there, no
Okay.
problem.
There's one problem with Ritchie Street Park. It used to be a landfill, and if you
This
go
is
out
not,
there,
it's not on the park, it's.
yeah, I
across
know the
street.
lot he's talking of. But that whole area, if you stick a shovel in the ground, you come up with glass
The same with the soccer fields.
and Middle Park, but that whole top of that hill is that way. I've gone out and walked around it, and so you have a dog park with pieces of glass constantly coming up through the ground. And the only answer would be come in and put a couple of feet of clay dirt on top. So
This
Yeah,
particular
we're
area
good.
was a
Yeah,
gravel
well,
pit.
it's got a couple, 3 or 4 foot of iron gravel on it.
This is where the city used to
Yeah.
store all
Yeah,
the
I
gravel
just-
for road projects.
Yeah, yeah.
you've been out there digging holes and stuff and seen it. There's just
Yeah,
putting in that
I
little
know
fence.
I know where the bathroom used to be and where the playground and all that. Yeah, the glass and stuff's there bad. But on that other side, it's not like that.
But we can certainly get some
And then
numbers.
Mill Creek Pond, if anybody drives out there, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's lots of big open grassy areas out there with huge shade trees.
Yeah.
There's lots of places there. I like the idea of putting a dog park in each of them, because it's going to drive people to those 2 parks.
I love it. Okay, so you have an assignment. We'll visit those sites before our next meeting.
Well, that and something to consider is the one dog park we had has already been closed once because was it Parvo that got in there?
I mean, parvo's in the ground almost everywhere. We closed it a few times during COVID just because people couldn't gather, and we've closed it before when we've had like water main leaks and things like
I
that.
remember reading one time that it was temporary closed because some dog disease was there and it had to be taken care of. But if you have 2 parks, you eliminate that problem.
Yeah.
We don't have a shutdown.
We do the same thing with like pickleball, where we have, right now our lights at Maroni are broken, and we've told everybody, you can come play here in the mornings. We have Benita Creek Park as well, so, sometimes it's good to have a secondary location.
But no parvo issue with the pickleball.
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know
I'm
of.
sorry. Okay, as far as future goals, the vision of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, I didn't bring anything to work on there. Does anybody have any issues that they want to discuss? I do have some, we'll bring it up though, maybe the next meeting, we can talk through it.
Okay.
If not, when do we meet again?
Will be September, because we moved to every other month. So let me see, September 22nd, I believe. Yes, September 22nd at 4 PM.
4 PM, September 22nd. Thank you, appreciate you guys being here, thanks for your efforts and your input, and we'll see you then.
Thank y'all.
And what